Give it up for No Minneapolis. Y'all. Hello. Welcome to Perpetuate the Hope. We are so excited to finally be in person with you all after 2 whole years. We've been gathering virtually for that time, and now we are home. So, my name is Danica Leonard, and I am one of the 2 board co-chairs for Urban Homeworks.
Good evening, and I am Jim Bear Jacobs. I am also a member of the Urban Homeworks Board of Directors. And we want to thank every single one of you for being in this room. Tonight is a celebration of Urban Homeworks and what we've been able to accomplish with this incredible community. We have provided affordable rental homes for 500 residents. 126 of those residents are children. We completed 3 homes for purchase by community members. We significantly expanded staffing to support and connect residents. And we signed a lease for a beautiful new office space at 927 West Broadway, which we get to move into very, very soon.
Absolutely. So there's much to celebrate. And we also recognize that this hour together is an incredible opportunity to share our work ahead. And we won't mince words. The need is big. But looking around this room, you are all here to respond, to act, and to be the change that we all hope and pray for. We are so grateful. And thank you for perpetuating hope.
Tonight is made possible by our sponsors, Capital Management Associates, Calvary Church, Binder Heating and Air Conditioning, and RBC, and all of the other sponsors and community builders. Thank you also to the staff and volunteers who are helping with this event, even right now at least.
And our deepest gratitude to 2 community beacons, Etrophic Burnett and Angela Avent, who are here today to share their stories with you. But before we invite our amazing executive director out, Asale Soul Young, to the stage, Jim Bear, may I ask you to share a blessing before we begin?
I would be honored. Would you all join me in prayer? Gracious Creator, we come to you, called together in holy community with one voice, recognizing that the need for affordable, dignified housing for each and every community member is so great. But Lord, we confess that the need is only as great as it is because we have allowed it to be so. For too many generations, Lord, we have looked upon the theft of land of indigenous people, and we have called it your providence. We have gained generational wealth off the unfair labor practices leveraged against black, brown, and indigenous bodies, and we have called it your blessing. Amen. The need is so great. The damage is so deep. But Lord, we are grateful that you have provided a way. But we know that if we follow our call into the gospel of Jesus Christ, it leads to repair, to strengthen our feet, to follow your example of Jesus, who brings about justice through self-sacrifice. And may we be strengthened to do the same. Amen.
All right, Ashe. Thank you, Jim Bear. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce Asale Soul Young, Urban Homeworks Executive Director.
Greetings, and thank you so much, Jim Bear and Danica, for that incredible grounding. And thank you all so much for being with us this evening. It is wonderful to see your faces in person again. We are grateful for your time. This evening, I'm going to ask us to do some reflecting. I'm going to ask us to go back to 2020, a year that asks each and every one of us to take a look at ourselves. A year that for my generation will be remembered for the many moments that caused us to pause and question our own complacency in racial justice and equity in America. This was something asked of not only individuals, but organizations and businesses. Many folks taking the courage to lean into the question, including us here at Urban Homeworks. And while we have focused our work on Black and Indigenous communities, housing often 500 folks at a time in affordable, dignified housing, we still had to ask what we could do to more actively and intentionally work to dismantle racialized discrimination in housing stability, in home ownership, and in wealth building. We had to reckon again with the Black and white wealth gap, recognizing that white folks in America make 60% more income than Black folks, that Black folks hold just 14% of the wealth that white folks have. And why does that wealth matter? Because that wealth gives access to savings that are often passed down across generations. That wealth gives access to help further the education of family members, access to afford sometimes unanticipated healthcare costs, and most importantly, why we're here today, oftentimes that wealth enables families to help children and sometimes even grandchildren purchase their very first homes. These are incredible opportunities, and they're opportunities that have been denied Black and brown people for many generations. But today I ask you to imagine a world where we all have that opportunity. While at Urban Homeworks we have sold over 100 homes, affordable to those making less than 80% of the area median income, 2020 asks us to reconcile the fact that we are doing this work in a state where we are consistently in the top 5 for worst racial disparities in the country, particularly in education and home ownership. And Minneapolis in particular sits unapologetically at #1 for the worst racial disparities in urban centers. So 2020 left us to ask ourselves what we need to change in order to close the gap in the areas that we serve. Areas in near North, Camden, Cleveland, Phillips, and Central and South Minneapolis, areas with predominantly Black, brown, and Indigenous communities, where nearly 50% of folks are making less than $40,000 a year. Here in Minneapolis, where the area median income for a family of 4 is $118,000. So while we have done great work to serve folks making less than 80% of the area median income, 2020 asked us to dig in a little deeper and get a little bit more creative to understand how we can meet the need exactly in the depth that it requires. So we started with ourselves, recognizing that in order to sustain meaningful change, you have to start internally. So we began to reanalyze our staffing policies, recognizing that oftentimes the work of people and systems change can feel incredibly unsustainable to staff doing that work. I heard that, yep. We had to recognize that we needed to dig in on our values and make sure that they reflected our future direction. And we created an equity framework to cement an anti-racist decision-making process for the organization. And we did this while expanding our outlook and our reach towards board members that more adequately reflect the communities that we serve, while also reflecting our longtime donors and supporters. And we recognize that there is still much more to be done. But we do this internal work because we have a vision. And in this vision, we recognize that we cannot stabilize and grow home ownership in any community without supporting renters in stable, dignified housing. So therefore, we are looking to invest a minimum of $3 million into our 136 units of affordable housing, so that they not only reflect safety, but the dignity and care that we feel all people deserve. In short, y'all, it is time to renovate our properties. And we recognize that that will take a minimum of $3 million if we are going to reflect the dignity that we talk about. We also are being asked to recognize the increased levels of violence in the communities that we serve, while also facing the reality that the work of police to protect and serve is often denied to people living in the communities that we serve. So we have to get creative on what peace and safety actually mean. We have to recognize that dignity exists beyond the doorstep of the houses that we provide, that it has to extend into the streets and onto the sidewalks, into the neighborhoods where people are taking their children to school every day. Because in this vision that we have, dignity means that parents are no longer coming into our offices crying, trying to figure out how to keep their children safe from stray bullets entering their bedroom walls. We have to focus on dignity beyond just the brick and mortar. We have to invest in community building and connecting, relationship building practices that allow us to understand the people that are causing harm in our communities. So we are working to build coalitions in North and South Minneapolis, working with faith communities, other nonprofits, for-profit businesses, to model a new form of safety. We envision a dignity and a stability that enables families to move from rental to home ownership, from houselessness and high mobility to root creating and foundation building. And so we will continue to lever solutions that provide opportunities for a greater number of families, remembering that in the communities that we serve, folks are making just above 30% of the area median income. But we are determined to see the gap close. And as I look out at each of you today, I have to ask, do you want to see the gap close? Do you want to see the gap close? You want to see it close. We want to see it close. And we believe that we can close it. But we have to give to the reality. We have to meet the reality And so we are committed to applying innovative solutions that include greater affordability to match the depth of the issue. We are working on partnerships with organizations like the Black Lives of Unitarian Universalism, that allow us to build cooperative housing with the land trust, which ensures deep affordability for families that otherwise would not have the opportunity to buy a home. And I know some of you are having a very strong reaction to the words cooperative housing and land trust. And you want to know about the equity. But I do want to remind you that this is an opportunity for folks that would otherwise be unable to own their own home. And so these kinds of initiatives excite us because I am determined to see the gap closed here in Minneapolis in my lifetime. And we have to recognize, y'all, 2020 demanded that we recognize that the same measures, the status quo, is not closing the gap. In fact, the data shows the gap is actually getting worse. So our goal is to invest $500,000 a year in down payment assistance for first-time Black and Indigenous homeowners. Because our vision is to repair the generations of discriminatory lending, zoning, and housing policies that have kept Black and brown and Indigenous communities from experiencing the abundance of wealth building for their families. Do you believe we can close the gap in this generation? Do you believe we can end multi-generational housing inequity so that our children can pick up a new set of tools? So they can create their own pathways, y'all, and they can dream dreams that we can't even today imagine. Let us not leave them this problem. We know there are others for them to work on. I want to see the gap close here in Minneapolis in my lifetime because I think about a young man that I had the opportunity of volunteering beside of the other day. He desires to go into the trades after graduation. Young Kion. I want to see the gap close in my lifetime, y'all, because I want young Kion to know that he has abundant opportunity now and after graduation. That he has abundant opportunity when he is furthering his education, when he is building his business, and if he chooses to do so, when he is starting his family. Kion and I were volunteering on a site that was of a donated home. This was very special to me because this was a home donated by a white family that can literally trace their roots in North Minneapolis to the very first owners of this home. That is incredibly powerful. They are intentionally choosing to disrupt the racialized wealth gap with that donation. And I am so grateful to them for that. Yes, yes. Let us recognize that. I want to see the gap close in my lifetime because I want to see Eutropic's youngest son, Jeremiah, and you will hear from Eutropic in a little bit. But I want young Jeremiah to know that he does not have to face the same battles and struggles that his mother faced. That he has the opportunity to build a thriving life knowing that his mother was able to cement wealth building for their family. And I want to see the gap close in my lifetime because I recognize that without stable, dignified housing, Charles Kane would not have been able to build Brothers in Power. Yes. The organization that we get to partner with to take dignity from the doorstep to the streets. We need more of that. And I want to see that in my lifetime. As short as it has been thus far, I want to see it before I die. So I ask you today if you are willing to walk with us towards this future. If you are willing to face it with eyes wide open and apply the adequate resources and funding needed to transform housing, to get out of the statistic of being the worst place for Black and brown people to thrive in education and in housing. I believe we can do better. I believe that we can provide opportunities for families to start saving and to start a tradition of passing on wealth to those that come after them. So let us move towards a future where people can become homeowners, can build wealth, can manifest joy and peace in their neighborhoods, and can dream endlessly because the path is there for them to do so. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Hello, hi, my name is Angela Avon. I have been a resident of Urban Homeworks for the last 10 years.
Well, my name is Etrophic Barnett. Most people here know me as E. Some of my family and friends call me Sean. I am a mother of 6, a grandmother of 2 and 1 on the way. And I am a special great aunt to my 2 nieces and nephews, and I've had the privilege of being able to be a part of their life and upbringing them as well. So I have a huge family.
I like to help others. I like to build foundations within other families as well. You know, living here, you know, it's a village.
I used to drive through North, and I would see what the news didn't see. I would see what the news didn't tell you. They didn't say, I saw fathers, Black fathers on the bus stop with their kids, putting their kids on the bus. I saw Black women and families picking up the weeds off the sidewalk. I saw Black families walking up and down the street with their children picking up the trash. And so those are the stories that I didn't hear on the news. They tell you about the shootings, and they tell you about the negativity things that happen.
Moving into Urban Homeworks was like a burden and a pressure lifted off of me. When I came to Urban Homeworks, I was in a real tough spot in my life. I had just kicked the habit. I moved from a house that was infested with bed bugs, and when I moved into my first Urban Homeworks home, I moved with 1 bag of clothing for me and my kids, and that was it. So once I got there, Urban Homeworks was very welcoming. Things that I needed, they provided different baskets at different, like Thanksgiving and Christmas, they provided a lot of different things for us.
But I would tell you I'm grateful to God that I listened, because my mortgage is cheaper than rent. My mortgage is cheaper than what they charging right now for a 1-bedroom. So I'm grateful to God. Did not only that, but I got enough equity. I I got enough equity that I can help my children. Pray to God, hallelujah, I'm claiming it, that I can help my children buy that duplex. So then that way they won't have to worry about continue to pay this humongous amount of rent to somebody else, making generational wealth for somebody else, and then trying to be in bamboozled about don't live over north because it's dangerous. That's a lie from the pits of hell. That's a part of gentrification. So I saw that. I saw the beauty. I saw the beauty in what other people said it wasn't. Because there's always beauty if you look for it.
I love it. I love it. I think I'll be born and dead here in North Minneapolis, you know, when it's that time. But I'm not going nowhere. And I believe that we can change. I believe that there is hope, but it's going to take everyone to put in some work. It's not going to be just something overnight, because I think we're lacking hope. We're lacking faith. And a lot of times, the people that's lacking those things don't believe they have a future. You know, and because they don't have stable housing, because they don't have a stable place to eat, they don't have stable, you know, just washing their behinds, which is just normal things that you're supposed to be able to do. But now, because of how high the rate is on everything, now you're choosing, am I going to get a gallon of gas, or am I going to go buy a gallon of milk, gallon of gas, or a carton of eggs? So stable housing definitely helped me, especially going through urban homeless, because they work with me no matter what the circumstance may have been.
Is to say that when you think about giving, and you think about giving to an organization that's really doing meaningful, transforming work, I want you guys to, you know, just take a moment and think, like, what organization that I want to give to that's actually changing and transforming people's lives? And I would tell you to please give to urban homeless, because housing is a need. It's not a want, it's not a desire. So it's a need to have affordable, dignified housing. That is a need. And if we can meet the basic needs of people, which is housing, having housing prevents violence. Having a place to stay prevents violence. Having a place that you can call home, that you can afford, prevents violence. The more people that we have housed, the less people we have living in cars, the less people we have living in tents, the less people we have worried about breaking into a store just to live there for the night. Because we all know Minneapolis get cold. We only have 3 to 4 good months of good weather throughout the whole year. So as you think about giving, and as you this season upon giving and give to the max day, think about urban homework. Urban homeworks work with different contractors who are people of color. So they are not only just coming here getting a job, but they are building houses and giving room for other places and training our young people and giving them opportunity to make a decent livable wage so they don't have to do nothing violent. So the more that you think about giving to urban homeworks, the more I want you guys to think about you're not only giving to a housing organization, but you're ending the cycle of preventing violence. When people have a home, they're not out there doing things that they don't need to do.
All right, that was incredibly inspiring. Let's give it up one more time. Thank you. Hey, y'all. It is so fun to get to sit up here and talk with you all. I just want to quickly introduce Eutropic Burnett and Angela Avex. Two Northside residents that have been close to Urban Homeworks for a very, very long time. Angela, you had a chance to talk about in the video your connection to the organization. So Ian, I'm going to start with you. Talk to us a little bit about how you got connected to Urban Homeworks and your journey with the organization.
Well, thank you first of all for having me here. And thank you guys for being here. Well, I came to Urban Homeworks through my best friend. I lived in Shasta, but he sold it. And I was looking to purchase a home. And as a single parent, it was very expensive for me. And my girlfriend told me about Urban Homeworks, and I was like, I don't know, because my children have been primarily raised in Shasta. But God told me, no, you gotta go. And I was like, I listened to God, and Mike Spicer at that time was the realtor. And he brought me around, and he listened to me, listened to my concerns, know that I had small children. And he was like, yeah, I got you. And I trusted and believed, and I just allowed God to guide me. And God guided me straight to Urban Homeworks. And I've been in North Minneapolis for the past 2 years.
All right. Awesome. Thank you. Angela, can you share a bit more about your connection to the organization? Just a little bit time you're getting,
Well, first off, hey everybody, I want to say happy birthday to my daughter, Naya. She turned 11 today, so I told her I'm going to make sure I say happy birthday. But I've lived in North Minneapolis pretty much all my life. My ties with Urban Homeworks, it came with me. First, I was a NAS family. Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, shout out to NAS.
Where I currently work. Hall was part of NAS at the time, and I was going through a lot of different dilemmas. My son was acting crazy. I didn't know what was going on, what was happening, or what the situation was. We found out that he had lead. So once we found out that he had lead, he was like, come on, we're going to do this. So by the time I got through doing this, I had Urban Homeworks as my landlord. I was part of NAS, and my kids is doing great and excelling in school. So that's how I officially got with Urban Homeworks.
Thank you. I love the connectivity. I feel like I've known you for...
That's because North Minneapolis is our family. We all stick together, we work together.
E, can you walk us through a bit of the journey? So you got connected through Mike Spicer to Urban Homeworks. Can you go into a little bit of the detail of what it took to actually purchase your home? Talk about some of the obstacles that you faced along the way.
Well, I'm originally from Chicago, and I came up here about 25 years ago, seeking for a better future for me and my children. And I was a part of the Holman lawsuit. And so being a part of the Holman lawsuit, I was one of the first families to be put in the Perpetuate suburb and to be the pilot of what they're doing right now. And so my oldest daughter was getting ready to go to college, and she decided that her and her friends wanted to live off dorm, and I got this notice telling me that I had to give up my unit. And I didn't understand that process, and I was like, what? And it was like, yeah, like, you gotta move. And I was like, no. And I was like, well, can I buy it? And it was like, no. And I was like, I can't buy it? And it was like, no. So I initially, some clicked in my head, was like, this don't make sense. Like, why is it that when your child turns 18 and we want them to go to college, we want them to pursue higher education, but their families are being, kicked for it. And I didn't understand that. That did not make sense to me. So I was like, no, I have to do something different. And I got in touch with Bill Wells. I had a lot of people just giving me a lot of information. And I would tell you I love David McGee because I can hear him in my head right now today telling me, not to buy. Don't buy. Sell don't mean buy, right? And how to save your money and how to be healthy with your money. And for him to tell me you pay more than your mortgage. So now I'm almost done paying for my house. Ain't even 10 years. Right. So I listen to the tools that are available for us as people of color because we're not taught that. I was primarily born and raised in projects. There was no generational wealth. My dad went to the Vietnam War, came back, and I didn't have the opportunity to use some GI Bill. We didn't have the opportunity to move out the projects. And so I wanted to give my children something different. I wanted to give them life, and I wanted to teach them about generational wealth, something that I didn't know about.
Yes. And that just, I don't know if I'm supposed to save this for later, but please talk a little bit about this vision that you have for building generational wealth for your children.
Well, day one that I moved into my house, my neighbor had a duplex. And I was like, you know what? I want her duplex. I was like, I want that duplex. And I was like, I should have bought the duplex because my kids are going to grow up and they need their own little space. And I kept telling her I want your duplex. And, God rest her soul, she's passed away. And I told her, loved ones, I want the house. And so I was like, I want you to talk to the attorney. I'm buying a house. I got enough. I'm taking all mine out. Tell them, kids, get your credit together. Let's go. Yeah. Y'all got to come on and do something. You buy this together. You ain't got to worry about paying rent. It's yours. Everybody has a place to stay. Everybody can take a unit and build it. And I work for the city. I know where the money at.
I love it. I love it. So you're going to have to give us an update.
I most definitely will by the end of the year.
End of the year. Let's go. Let's go. Angela, can you talk a little bit about, from moving into urban homework stable housing and your transformation in that space and what you've been able to offer your children, the benefit that has had both on you and your family as well as the community?
Having stable housing, I can say it made it possible for me to be able to look and focus on different things opposed to where I'm going to sleep or how I'm going to lay or where my kids are going to lay their heads. Now I'm able to focus on getting them different education and sports activities and being out in the community, being relevant, maybe feeding up. We go a lot of times to feed the homeless and feed those that are on drugs that's on Broadway, because they're all the time. So if y'all want to join us, let us know. You can join the board. But yeah, I try to teach them to give back, give that giving back spirit, because it's not given all the time.
That's right, it's not given all the time. And I have to ask Angela, what keeps you so motivated and inspired to continue doing the work that you do?
I want better for my children. I've seen Minnesota or North Minneapolis go from being able to leave our doors open to my dog Julie in at the front door to now you gotta have about 5 locks and you gotta have the windows barred up. And I believe that we can go back to the doors being open and the dogs being able to lay around if we all come together as a village. And I believe it takes a village to raise all of us. And these children nowadays are lacking hope, they're lacking vision, they're lacking substance. So therefore, if you're able to provide that, I don't care if I just help one person at a time. I believe that one person maybe going to help someone else, and it'll be a chain reaction, but it's going to take all of us to come together as one. And I believe stable housing in itself alone will prevent a lot of different things that's going on, because they're out there because they don't have nowhere to go.
That's right. That's right. Thank you. Talk about it. Talk about it. E, similar question. What drives you to continue to be a leader and to show up as a model in the community?
First and foremost, I'm a black woman. Second of all, as I was hearing you speak, so I thought about when you was talking about 2020. I've had the privilege of working at George Floyd Square for the last 2 years. Mm-hmm. Since May 25th, 2020, no one's life has been the same. Mm-hmm. And no one's life should be the same. And so that's what motivates me. Being out there in that moment, from that moment on to this moment, will continue. As long as God put the blood in my body and the breath in me, I will continue to fight for justice.
That's right. That's right. And I know it's true.
I ain't going nowhere.
I know that's true about you. Mm-hmm. So, the three of us live in North Minneapolis, and a lot of folks, as you kind of referenced in the video, a lot of folks have a perception of North Minneapolis. What are some things that, if you could share about why you stay in North, what are some of the things that you would share?
Okay, how about this? I think I stayed in North Minneapolis so long because I know its potential. I've seen what it's able to bring and what it's able to become. I've seen basketball players in Minneapolis become famous. I've seen Prince. I've seen all these different things that can come out of North Minneapolis. So I have hope and believe that we can become a better North Side, but it's going to take all of us to come together to do so.
For me, it's the village. Northside is the village. I mean, you know, like coming in today, I see all my family members that I haven't seen in 2 years through COVID. It's the village. It's the Julian Jacksons. It's the Charles King. It's the Danitas Leonard. It is the Ayolandas. You know, it is the Felicia Perez. You know, it is those. You know, it's that. It's that. It's that. I don't know. Yes. It's that, you know what I'm saying? It's Andre Dukes, you know what I'm saying, who's always been there, who's, you know, been empowering us in many different spectrums. So it's that's what keeps me. And it's that's what's going to keep us moving, because it's all of us.
Yes.
And all of us going to be a part of this solution.
That's right. That's right. Thank you. That's right. So, Angela, we got to hear a big goal that you have for this duplex. So we're just going to keep putting blessings on that. Angela, what are some of your goals?
I'm gonna be a homeowner.
That's right. That's right.
I give myself 1 year, and I'll be
1 year.
owning a home, and I'll be sitting on the stage sitting east of me.
Yes, yes. So Angela, you know I have to push you a little bit. I'm gonna do it in front of the audience. So 1 year. So what are your next steps?
Okay, you already told me I gotta do build wealth.
Yes. The Build Wealth Urban Homeworks cohort. That's right.
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna reach out to all of our partners and see, you know, what we can bring with this. But I believe and I know that I can and I am able to. As I told y'all before, I look back at where I've come from to where I am now, and I can't do nothing but thank God. I can't, because I gotta thank my family, my mom, my sister, and my support system, man. Because without y'all, I wouldn't have made it. And I'm grateful. And I know this is just the beginning. And I'm going to have that house next summer.
That's right. That's
So
right.
I want to thank you guys.
You know the right here.
That's right. Right. Accountability. Accountability right here. Right. Accountability. All right. All right. So my last question to both of you. When you think about a future where everyone is thriving, what role do you see urban homeworks playing in that? And what role do you see yourself?
Being out there, helping, being a director, providing resources, being a connector, being a coach, someone uplifting, just sharing with the team, letting them know the things and where they're today. Just get out here.
Well, I see urban homeworks as continue being part of the housing justice reform and the housing justice fight for all the Minneapolis residents, and giving up housing in multifaceted ways, because we are all different here, and that needs to be uplifted. As far as myself, continue on pushing the elected officials and the people that be. We are $10 billion in surplus. Governor Walsh is up for re-election.
Amen.
Call him, write him, let him know we need more money for housing.
Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. Talk about it.
I'm going to continue on. I'm going to continue on pushing the button in those spaces that God has allowed me to be in. Even if I have to only be there, the only black woman, I will continue to push.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much, both of you, for your time and for your leadership. For how you
All right, good evening, everyone. My name is Robbie Singh. I am the branch manager for U.S. Bank on West Broadway and finance committee member with Urban Homeworks.
And I'm Lee Schaefer. I'm treasurer of Urban Homeworks and the board member of this incredible organization for the last 5 years. I love this mission. Tonight you've gotten a little glimpse of why I love this mission. You've got our residents, you've heard about our programs. Our job today, is to ask you for your support to grow the impact of this organization.
We have approximately 450 residents living in our apartments, 125 of which are kids. We have 12 homeownership units that we are currently moving through development. And we're continually working in community, with community to identify issue and develop community solutions.
It takes about $5 million a year to do that work. And about $2 million comes from foundations and donors like you. Of that, we still need to raise $950,000 before the end of the year. That's our need, $950,000 to further this mission. Our hope is that we can cover a significant part of that gap this evening. We have a goal of raising $150,000, and we are already well on our way. We've received gifts from our generous sponsors and our community builders, about $40,000. Plus, we've received word from a generous donor that if we build on that base and get to $100,000, they'll contribute an additional $50,000. So, that's $150,000. That's our goal. So,
Not a bad goal, right?
right.
All right. This afternoon, our goal is to do two things, right? So we want you to experience the foundational truth it takes a community to make this work possible. We also want to make it as simple as possible to join this community. So we have some tools to help you do just that. So in your bags, I'll just take mine out here. I'm sure everyone have one of these. You'll find a pledge card, a pen, and a pen. And we'll talk about that in a moment. But we have an even simpler way to make that commitment. This evening we have an option to easily make our commitment by text. I'm sure everyone have a smartphone here too as well, right? And to do so in a way that celebrates the community in this room right now. Even if you see the pledge card, we hope you'll use this text option to help us meet our goal. To do so, please take a moment, take out your phone, and open a new text. All right, I think some of the information is behind me as well. So in your new text, you will type the number 970-840-9000, which is also on the screen. All right. Please move too fast for me here. In your text, you're going to type UHW. Leave a space, the total amount you're committing to give, whether multi-year or one-time gift. Space and your name. Or you can leave this last part blank if you'd like to give anonymously. He's working on his right now.
Okay, as you do so, we all get to watch us reach our goal in real time. This is an encouragement to each other and a reminder that every gift, whether it's $5 or $50,000, is necessary and appreciated in moving the work forward. When you make a commitment today, you'll receive a text back with a link to our donate page. There you can complete the transaction, or if you wish, you can fill out your pledge card and hand it to a community builder or to any of the staff and volunteers, and they're apparently wearing green glow sticks. Yes, I see the greens, yeah. Oh, actually, some of them are pink. Okay, well, red. Or red. So, any glow stick. If you see a person wearing a glow stick, assume it's staff or volunteer.
As you reflect on what you can give, I also encourage you to reflect on the insert in your program, which shares what gifts of various size can accomplish through this organization. I think that's also in the bag. Today we are asking those of you who can to make a commitment of $1,000 a year for the next 5 years. $1,000 is $83 a month. That pledge will provide stability for our families and will do so recognizing that this work isn't accomplished in a day or even 1 year.
For those who can give more, we ask you to think about $2,500 a year for the next 5 years. $2,500 is what it takes to provide a dignified, stable rental home at an affordable price to your family for a full year. We know that some of you might have a donor-advised fund or a family foundation or just the capacity to give at a larger level. Hopefully you'll consider giving $5,000 a year for the next 5 years. The average amount of private dollars we need to renovate or build a new home is $18,000. Your gift will go a long way in helping us meet the gap.
We started by asking you to give in these larger categories. I hope that many of you have chosen to do that. I'd like to ask those of you who have not yet made a gift or pledged to tell us how much you'd like to give and for how long. Please text that total commitment and use the gift information section to make a pledge, one-time gift or recurring donation to this work. Whatever you can give, we truly appreciate it.
In a moment, Cortland and the youth of Known Minneapolis are going to share a reminder that we are all, each one of us, part of something bigger than ourselves. As you listen, please hit send on your text to the number above or finish filling out your information on your pledge card. Thank you again for your support of our mission and community. Thanks.
If you feel significant, you better think again. Better wake up because you're part of something way bigger. You're part of something way bigger. Not just a speck in the universe, not just some words in a Bible verse. You are the living word. You're part of something way bigger. Bigger than you, bigger than we, bigger than the picture the frame is to see. But now I see it. And it ain't no secret, no. Understand the truth about that question in your soul. Look up, don't look down, then watch the answer unfold. Life goes over, look at it and find it. Take the pen and rewrite it. Step out your estimate, step in your essence. Know that you're excellent, right? Spirit is teaching, but I'm not just preaching. I'm taking my own advice. Let mama let you know that mama's still trying. I can't get no days off. I don't need no days off. Truly I'm feeling that I have to say that thing twice. Trying to be a good wife, still really hard, I can't lie. Well, I promise you I will fight, so I'll fight. If you're feeling frustrated, you're sinking, I'm jumping in. Forgiveness is key because we're fighting something way bigger. You never lose, we are winners. I'll be the roots, you be the trees. On the fruit that was given to me. Legacy, you're part of something way bigger. You're part of something way bigger. I'll be the roots, you be the tree. That's on the fruit that was given to me. Legacy, you're part of something way bigger. Let love be the water. I pour into you and you pour into me. There ain't no drought here. Pull me to our natural powers. I'll be a sanctuary. You just don't know yet. You just don't know yet. No matter how hard it gets, you got my blood, yeah. You're gonna something way bigger, bigger than you, bigger than me. Picture that famous to see, yeah. Ooh, ooh, ooh. You're part of something way bigger, bigger, Step out your wrestling, step in your essence and know that you're excellent. Rise, Spirit is teaching. No, I'm not just preaching. I'm taking my own advice. You better think again. Better wake up because you're part of something way bigger. You're part of something way bigger. I'll be the roots, you'll be the tree. Pass on the fruit that was given to me. Legacy. You're part of something way bigger.
All right, so we have one last thing for you today. If you have made a financial commitment today, will you please stake out the bubbles found in your gift bags? And have some fun. All right, so if you have made a gift or pledged to Urban Homeworks, we encourage you to start blowing your bubbles. As you do, take a look around at this very visual representation of the hope we have all committed to carrying up and out of this room. Giving to this work is one small way you can be a part of something bigger.
So, woo-hoo, we have achieved our goal. We have achieved it in a half over here, so thank you all. It now stands at about $219,000 committed. We could only accomplish this together. Thank you. A reminder that our larger goal for the year is still $950,000. So if you haven't given, or you haven't made a commitment, still time. And if you have given, please consider it a additional gift if you can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. We're so grateful to you for joining us in this collective effort. We know this work cannot be done in isolation. We know that together it is possible to create a future that is equitable for all people. So let this be a reminder of the hope you each carry, and may hope bubble up and carry us all forward as we act to be the change we wish to see in our homes, neighborhoods, community, and world. Thank you all.